Dr. Oz has a message for those of you concerned about losing your Medicaid benefits. Prove that you are worthy enough to get health care. That's right. On Wednesday, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator went on Fox Business to explain to host Larry Kudlow why the administration wants work requirements and it's to get rid of the lazy people who don't want to work. And you know what? If you do that, if you go out and you work, then you're going to be able to keep your benefits. Take a look.
Go out there, do entry-level jobs, get into the workforce, prove that you matter, do something to show you have agency over your future. And if you're willing to do any of those things, we will check the box and you get to keep your free Medicaid. But if you're not willing to do those things, then we're going to ask you to go on and do something else, like go on the exchanges or get a job and get into regular commercial insurance. But we're not going to continue to pay for Medicaid for those audiences.
Prove that you matter. That's right. Prove that you matter. Basically saying that if you are not able to generate income for a rich person or corporation, then you do not matter and you do not deserve health care. That is their message right there. Okay. That's the message. Plain and simple. All right. That said, 64% of Medicaid recipients already work. They already have jobs. 71% are either in school or working full or part-time. So, I mean, there you go. The rest, by the way, are either disabled and can't work, or they are caregivers. Okay, and by the way, no undocumented immigrants are eligible for federal benefits. I know that there is that lie that continues to be pushed by right wingers. Mike Johnson, for example, going out there. We're not going to take away Americans' Medicaid. We're just going to take it away from people who are undocumented immigrants and lazy people and, those who are able-bodied. Yes, that's right. That's what we're going to do. No. The reality is the vast majority of people already work or they have damn good reasons not to. So that said, where are they going to get the $880 billion in promised cuts from? Well, people who are working and get Medicaid, the people who are already eligible. They're going to get it by kicking those people off the program. Period. Look, the Congressional Budget Office found that at least 10 million Americans would be forced off of Medicaid as a result of Trump's big, beautiful bill. Okay? When they looked at it, when they examined it, they found that the administration had about 5 different options on how to try to find $880 billion worth of cuts. They're all bad, but I'm going to read them off anyway. Option 1 would reduce the federal government's share of responsibility, also called the FMAP, for the Medicaid expansion population. Okay, so basically, they're going to shift the responsibility onto the states. And of course, the states, a lot of them have balanced budget amendments. That means they're not going to be able to afford to keep as many people on Medicaid, so they're going to reduce the amount of people on it. That's it. Okay. How many people? About 5.5 million people would be kicked off of Medicaid, period. And about 2.4 million people would end up going uninsured. Because remember, this also would likely affect people on ACA programs as well, the budget cuts themselves. Okay. And so, yes, that's another problem. Option 2 would limit provider taxes that states use to cover portions of their Medicaid funding, which would result in about 8.6 million people being kicked off of Medicaid and 3.9 million going uninsured. Option 3 would establish limits or caps on federal spending for all people in the state who have health insurance through Medicaid. That would result in about 5.8 million people being kicked off the program, 2.9 million going uninsured completely. Option 4 would establish limits or caps on federal spending for the Medicaid expansion population, resulting in 3.3 million people being kicked off Medicaid and 1.5 going uninsured. And finally, option 5 would repeal the Medicaid and Medicare Savings Program enrollment, streamlining rules that reduced barriers to enrolling in the programs, making it harder essentially for people to sign up and stay on it, which would result in about 2.3 million people being kicked off Medicaid and 0.6 million going uninsured. All of these options are terrible and would lead to, of course, eligible people who, yes, work for a living, the poorest of the poor, though, not being able to get health care. And it's not like they could go and afford insurance on the ACA exchanges. The whole point for Medicaid is to get allow people who cannot afford it, who are poor, to be able to get health care. That's it. Look, health insurance costs are too high. Wages are too low. It's both of those things combined. And so you want to kick those people off? Yes, that's exactly what they're going to do. Dr. Oz is both clueless and cruel. He is telling the poorest of the poor who already work to go get a job. Oh, and to buy expensive insurance that they can't afford. Oh, yeah. Oh, so you can tell these people just pull $1,000 out of the month from their ass while they're making $7.25 an hour? Look, if you're doing the math, okay, and you're working 30 hours a week, which, again, tends to be like a standard for people on a minimum wage, all right, making $7.25 an hour, your monthly income pre-tax comes out to a total of $943. That is not very much, okay? Not very much at all. If you're working 40 hours, you're still only making around $1,200. That's, again, disastrous. Now, if you take the average national monthly health insurance cost for a single person on an ACA plan without tax credits, okay, how much does that cost them? An average of $477 a month. The reason I'm doing this math here, okay, is to point out that there is no possible way for a person to afford rent, food, health insurance, transportation if you are making the minimum wage. Can't do it. Impossible. This is why Medicaid exists, to give people who, yes, are working or who cannot work health care. There is literally no other way for them to be able to afford it otherwise. Just get a better job, they say. Well, then who's going to do the jobs that they're leaving? If they're even capable of being able to get a better job. I mean, it kind of sounds like that argument is to just justify the existence of jobs that guarantee that the person working it never escapes poverty. Yeah, I guess that's the point. Look, the minimum wage was meant to be the minimum that you could actually live on. You can't even do that at this point, though. You cannot live on a minimum wage. And yet this guy, Dr. Oz, is like, prove your worth. Prove that you are worthy of living. Because again, if you don't have health care, if you can't get health care, health insurance, what happens? You die. That's it. Look, prove your worth. Well, I mean, I think a person's worth for healthcare is, hey, if you're alive, good enough. You deserve healthcare. Congratulations. That's how I feel about that. All right. And so hearing him say this, it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. Like, how can you think like that? That you have to prove that you're worthy of being able to get health care. We all are going to need health care in our lives at some point. Okay? We all should have it. You know what? We should all also have food and a roof over our heads, a place to sleep. And I think we should all have those things by virtue of being alive. And that's it. But again, Dr. Oz does not believe so. So, you know what? Hey, Dr. Oz, prove your worth. What makes you worth millions of dollars? Is it? I mean, I don't think it's because of your crappy show where you gave out terrible health advice and scam people. Okay? No, what you're doing here is basically eugenics, which shouldn't surprise anyone, knowing these people, knowing who they are. Because you know what? Killing off the poor and helping rich people for the benefit of the wealthy is kind of their whole thing. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.